Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special segment on this Friday. Well, thank God it's Friday and it is the 3rd of September. 3rd of September is a very, very special day. Can anyone guess what it is? Well, I'll give you a little while to get back. Let's see if anyone comes up with what 3rd of September is very famous for. You are in Australia anyway, so you need to know about Australian things. Well, right now we'll move on with some of the news and find out about what's actually happening out there. Of course, first of all, we'll get an update from our Premier. We are ready.
All right, good morning Queensland and good morning to all of our Facebook Live followers, and it's a wonderful day here in Brisbane in Queensland. Can I start off by saying that we have great news today. We have 0 new cases. It's a double donut day, which is fantastic news. We have 18 active cases at the moment, 1,982 total cases, and we've had 16,613 tests in the past 24 hours. So once again, that's a great sign that people are getting tested, and like I said, it is absolutely significant that as many people as possible go and get tested. So, and in more good news, we've had another good day for vaccine delivery, 21,723 vaccines delivered by Queensland Health, and we now have 51.65% of eligible Queenslanders have had 1 dose and 32.9% have had 2 doses. So it's really important that Queenslanders go and get vaccinated. Yesterday we announced that the Cairns Convention Centre will be opening soon for vaccination. We really need people to go and get their vaccine. This is our window of opportunity to go and get vaccinated before we see another issue arise here. So today isn't just good news, it's a great news day. We have no cases, lots of testing, and of course the vaccine progress is underway. The Gold Coast family who travelled to Victoria have tested negative. That is excellent news. Dr Young is confident that the risks of the 2 truck drivers is low. That's great news. And we know that eventually there could be cases that pop up, so that is why I'm urging Queenslanders to get vaccinated. That is absolutely important. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about hotel capacity. So we've got some more good news there. So as promised, from tomorrow, 50 rooms will become available for people coming into Queensland domestically. Those people are being contacted today, and as we know, we did have a pressure cooker situation. Having that week respite has been really good. So I've just been advised by Queensland Health and by Queensland Police that from Monday we will be available to offer 680 rooms. So that's excellent. That's because we've had the opportunity for that week to ease the pressure, and of course we know that September, October we're going to see less of those international flights coming in as well, which means that's great news that families will be able to come to Queensland. So this afternoon, I'll talk a little bit more about this later, there's going to be a National Cabinet meeting. I'm looking forward to that meeting. We'll be getting some updated information on the Doherty modelling, and of course there'll be a paper circulated, I understand, about hospital capacity. We haven't received that paper yet, but I look forward to getting briefed on that paper. Let me just say this to Queenslanders. My job is to keep you safe. We've had a double donut day today. We've got 0 cases. Our economy is open. We have our Queensland lifestyle. Tonight people will go to their cafes and pubs and local restaurants. 100 people will be able to gather in people's homes, whether that's for a 21st birthday party. People will be able to come together for Father's Day on Sunday. This is the sort of Queensland I want. I want to preserve our lifestyle. I want to see Queenslanders being kept safe, but we need to get our vaccination rates up. This is absolutely critical that we use this window of opportunity to get as many Queenslanders vaccinated, so when the virus does get here, we are well prepared. People know me. I stand by what I believe in, and I will always accept the advice of Dr Young, but I will not be making decisions when I don't see detailed modelling. I'm asking very simple questions here of Scott Morrison and from the National Cabinet. I want to see further detailed modelling. It is only fair and reasonable that we have a constructive debate in this country. And rather than picking fights and attacks, let's have a decent, educated conversation. And there is nothing wrong with asking decent questions about the safety of families. We had a conversation early in the pandemic about aged care, and then we saw how important it was to get our aged care residents and our workers vaccinated. We know that the federal government is responsible for the supply of the vaccine. If we can get more supply, well, then we can put more vaccines into people's arms. And now there is a very legitimate conversation where I'm asking questions about what happens to a cohort of young children who aren't vaccinated. These are legitimate questions that Queenslanders and Australians want answers to. It is not about being against a national plan. We are all for a national plan. I went through yesterday in the Queensland Parliament the national plan, which is clearly articulated, and the phase that we are in, Queensland is doing everything that is part of that national plan. So let's have an educated conversation about these issues. These are real issues, and I think as a nation we can come up with the answers. But rather than attacks, let's have a conversation. I'll hand over to Dr Young.
Thank you, Premier. So an excellent day. We have no new cases, and those cases we had yesterday we've contact traced, and we have all of those people in quarantine, and we'll just work through what that means going forward. But thank you to every single person who came forward and got tested yesterday. That is enormously helpful, because it means that we can be confident we don't have virus circulating in our community, despite the large number of people who are still coming into Queensland. The other thing I want to thank is our freight workers. Every single case we've had recently that's involved truck drivers, those truck drivers have done exactly the right thing. So thank you very, very much. They are the people who are most vulnerable at this time in getting COVID, because they must travel around the country and they must go into areas where there's large amounts of transmission. So when they come back into Queensland, it's critical that they manage their risks to their family and to the community by minimising movement, and they've all been doing that, so thank you very much. Then the other thing we can all do is get vaccinated. Anyone who is 16 years or older should make an appointment to get vaccinated. If you're 60 years of age or older, you need to make an appointment with your GP or a pharmacy and get vaccinated as soon as possible if you haven't already. That is your best protection, because COVID will come into Queensland. Of course it will. We're seeing every single day, and we don't know when it will lead to an outbreak. The best protection is to be vaccinated. So 60 plus, make an appointment with your own GP or a pharmacy and get vaccinated. If you're age 16 through to 59, then you can make an appointment with the GP. GPs are getting increasing stocks of Pfizer. They also have AstraZeneca, if you want to sit down and talk to your GP about that. Or you can make an appointment with one of our many Queensland health vaccination sites across the whole state. That's critical. Now, if you're 12 through to 15, if you have any underlying health conditions, so for instance you have a paediatrician who takes care of you, or you're a First Nations child, or you live in a rural or remote area, it's critical you also get vaccinated, that you come forward and get Pfizer vaccine. That's very important. So if we can do all of that, then when the virus does come into Queensland and start spreading, then people will be protected. We know vaccination is what will protect us. Thank you.
Well, yesterday Scott Morrison had 6 members of his team out attacking Queensland, our border restrictions and our Premier. We haven't seen a pile-on like that since before the state election last year. Not one of them mentioned the outbreak in Sydney. It's as though Queenslanders are somehow responsible for the New South Wales outbreak. It's clear the Prime Minister has both his eyes on his own election and no eyes on the outbreak ripping through Sydney right now. We are committed to the national plan. In fact, in some ways, we're one of the few states that's complying with the national plan. Queenslanders complied with Phase A of the national plan when Sydney-siders didn't, and that's how we got here. Don't let the LNP convince you that the Doherty Institute's modelling says something that it does not. Don't fall for Scott Morrison's marketing tactics. This is much more complex than a number and a simple three-word slogan. And to Queenslanders I say this, we've been here before, and every time our Premier has followed the health advice and is determined to keep Queenslanders safe.
Well, thank you to everyone who's come out and got tested in the last 24 hours. We've seen those numbers go up considerably. And once again, Queenslanders are stepping up and listening to the advice to come out and get tested if they have any symptoms whatsoever. It is great news about the family of 5 all testing negative. They will be in hotel quarantine for the next 14 days. So that is really positive news, and I understand the school has now opened back up again. Record numbers of vaccinations by the state Queensland Health yesterday as well, and we will continue that rollout. But we also remind people that GPs are getting about the equivalent of Pfizer as the state is, so Pfizer is also available through GPs, and also, of course, AstraZeneca through GPs and community pharmacies. And we were the first to ask for community pharmacies to be brought online, and we were the first to have community pharmacies coming online more broadly across our state. And we know how important that is because Western Australia and Queensland are the most decentralised states in the country. So delivering vaccines in Queensland is far different to delivering vaccines in New South Wales or Victoria. Or, of course, I've seen the references to Tasmania and ACT's rates. So we have to remember we have to try to take this out into our remote communities. Just setting up big mass vaccination centres on their own is not enough because we cannot meet our 70 and 80% targets solely in southeast Queensland through mass vaccination sites. We need to make sure we're hitting those targets out in our regional and remote and rural communities as well, because we owe it to those people. You can't talk about lifting restrictions and saying, well, southeast Queensland's basically...
I'd like to agree there that, we really need to take the vaccination out into the regional areas as well. So if we're having a mass vaccination centre out in the cities, that is fine. But what about the regional areas? How are we going to reach those regional areas is the question. And of course, the politics does get in the way. The federal and the state and between the Prime Minister and our Premier, there's always some delightful deliberations, should I say. Yes. Well, right now, let's take a look at one of our sponsors for the event before we move to the Daily India Report. And the final segment today will be a very special day that today is, what is it? You've still got a chance to answer me.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world, and don't forget that every week on Wednesday we have real estate update right here with Usha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty, and always we have the the graphs, and we talk about the highs and lows, and of course we look at auctions, private treaties, and rentals. Well, right now it's time for our daily India report. With that, let's welcome Ankita.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you glimpses of the changing India and the growing engagement of the Indian diaspora with India. In our first story, top Taliban leader Anas Haqqani has said that the Taliban wants amicable relations with India and it won't interfere in the Kashmir issue. Anas Haqqani, the Taliban leader and scion of Afghanistan's feared Haqqani network, has called for an amicable relationship with India and pledged not to interfere in the Kashmir issue following the US withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan and putting an end to the country's longest war. In an interview, he said, "Kashmir is not part of our jurisdiction and interference is against our policy. How can we do against our policy? This is clear we will not interfere." Regarding the Taliban's yet to be formed government's future relations with India, the leader stated that despite India's 20-year support for the enemy, the Taliban were eager to set aside their differences and create a friendship with India. Meanwhile, there is evidence that terrorist organizations are aligning with Afghanistan's new de facto rulers, with Al-Qaeda targeting India's Kashmir in a congratulatory letter. Al-Qaeda, the terror organization at the center of the United States' 20-year conflict in Afghanistan, congratulated the Taliban for beating the Americans. The 9/11 terror attacks in 2001, organized by Osama bin Laden, led to the US invasion of Afghanistan and the assassination of the Al-Qaeda leader in Pakistan in 2011. In a letter made available on social media, the group said it is the third time that the Afghan nation within a span of less than 2 centuries has successfully expelled an invading force. It said, "Liberate the Levant, Somalia, Yemen, Kashmir and the rest of the Islamic lands from the clutches of the enemy." Kashmiri separatist leader and former chairman of hardline Hurriyat Conference, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, passed away today after a prolonged illness. Kashmiri separatist leader and former chairman of hardline Hurriyat Conference, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, passed away in Srinagar today after a prolonged illness. Considered a pro-Pakistani, Gilani joined Jamaat-e-Islami and represented the party in Legislative Assembly in 1972, 1977 and 1987 from the Sopore constituency. His passport was seized in 1981 for his anti-national activities, but he was allowed to perform Hajj pilgrimage on a short T-term passport in 2006. Authorities have imposed restrictions in Srinagar today as a precautionary measure. US lawmakers are seeking permanent residence for H-1B visa holders, which can prove a game changer for Indians looking to migrate to the states. A group of 40 US lawmakers led by Indian American Raja Krishnamurthy has sought a budget reconciliation package to provide relief to the 1.2 million individuals stuck in the employment-based green card backlog. Notably, of the 1.2 million in the employment-based green card backlog, a significant majority is from India. In a letter written to US Speaker of House Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the lawmakers said in order to fully unlock the economic potential of high-skilled immigrants, a pathway to the lawful permanent residence must be cleared and the system reformed. At present, no more than 7% of employment-based green cards are available to individuals from a single country. So, Indians face decades-long wait to achieve lawful permanent resident status. The Indian Health Ministry has lauded the efforts of frontline workers in achieving record vaccination in a single day. India has achieved a milestone of vaccinating 500 million people in the country with the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. India's Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia has hailed the frontline workers and termed it an achievement in the world's largest vaccination drive. This is to recall that on Tuesday, India had administered 1.33 crore vaccines, the highest in a single day. Thus, 65.41 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far since January 16, 2021. Last month, India administered 18.3 crore doses, which was the highest in a month. Indian financial capital Mumbai's municipal corporation has made RT-PCR tests mandatory for passengers arriving at the Mumbai airport from the UK, Europe, the Middle East, South Africa and Brazil, among others. The Municipal Corporation in Mumbai, BMC, has made RT-PCR tests mandatory for passengers arriving at the Mumbai airport from or transiting through the UK, Europe, the Middle East, South Africa, Brazil, Bangladesh, Botswana, China, Mauritius, New Zealand and Zimbabwe from September 3rd. The BMC said all other passengers who need to exit the Mumbai airport or take connecting flights shall display their negative RT-PCR test report conducted within 72 hours of journey. The passengers shall also have to submit a self-declaration and undertaking to officers deployed at the airport and shall be mandatorily subjected to 14-day home quarantine. Tech giant Google has brought in features that can help Indians to search vaccine availability and book appointments at over 13,000 locations across the country. India's Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya on Wednesday informed that Google will now help navigate people to search vaccine availability and book appointments at over 13,000 locations across the country starting this week. Google has said that the people will be able to get more helpful information about vaccine availability and appointments of doses via the search engine from this week. For this, the company is using real-time data from the CoWIN application, it added. The health minister termed it as yet another significant initiative to enhance access to the COVID-19 vaccine. Good news from India's education sector. A record 71 Indian universities have qualified for the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2022. Among these, IISc in Bengaluru has secured the top position. A record 71 Indian universities have qualified for the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2022. Last year, 63 Indian varsities were shortlisted. The Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru secured the top position in the fresh list while IIT Ropar stays the second rank from India. Notably, the 7 first-generation IITs including Delhi, Bombay, Kharagpur and Madras continue to stay out of the list as they had not participated in the global rankings, citing data discrepancy and lack of transparency. Yesteryear's actor Saira Banu and widow of veteran Bollywood actor late Dilip Kumar's health condition is now stable. She was admitted to the Hinduja hospital in Mumbai following a heart problem. The health condition of yesteryear's actor Saira Banu, who was hospitalized 3 days ago, was reported to be now stable. The 77-year-old widow of late Dilip Kumar suffered from a heart problem and was admitted to the Hinduja hospital in Mumbai. According to her cardiologist, Dr. Nitin S. Gokhale, the left ventricle in Banu's heart had stopped functioning, which led to the ingress of water in her heart and lungs. The doctor further apprised that Banu is most likely to shift out of the ICU today. Saira Banu's husband and veteran Bollywood actor Dilip Kumar died at the age of 98 in Mumbai in July this year. Telugu film actor Nani and Jagpati Babu's latest family drama Tug Jagdish is all set to release on an OTT platform. The makers released the trailer of the film on 1st September. The makers of the Telugu film Tug Jagdish released the trailer of the film on 1st September. The film starring Nani in the lead role is written and directed by Shiv Nirvana. The film will start streaming on the Amazon Prime Video from September 10th, coinciding with the celebration of Ganesh Chaturthi. Tug Jagdish revolves around a family feud between two siblings. The promo though doesn't reveal the source of the enmity between the brothers. All that is known is that the elder brother, played by Jagpati Babu, is willing to break the family, but Jagdish, played by Nani, is determined to protect the family. A classic clash between the light side and the dark side of the same coin. Tug Jagdish seems to have all the right ingredients for a quintessential family drama far removed from the relationship challenges of today's world. And the setting seems a bit familiar. Nani, however, promises that there is more to the film than its strong sense of familiarity. He said, "We are not promising this film has twists and turns and concepts that you have never heard before. This film will be a throwback to our childhood. It will remind us of family films that we all grew up watching. Unlike other recent films, this examines the complexities of relationships in a more intense and nuanced way. Tug Jagdish is apparently inspired by Mani Ratnam's 1988 action movie Gharshana, revolving around sibling rivalry. The film also stars Ritu Verma, Aishwarya Rajesh, Thiruveer, Vaishnavi Chaitanya, Devdarshini and Daniel Balaji." That's all for this bulletin of Daily India Report. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much, Ankita, for that Daily India Report. As we know, that the report comes from Tuesday through till Saturday. So Monday is our off day for the Daily India Report. And thank you everyone for the comments and feedback on that Daily India Report. Of course, thanks to the Gupta family, Kayan Gupta Saab, and of course Manish Gupta and Sava Gupta as well. So thank you very much. And don't forget that it's an exclusive for Australian Indian Radio's daily live feed that they send from there. Well, the question for today, which I had asked before, was today is a special day. What is that very special day, which is today? Well, unfortunately, no one has answered that. So, the answer is today is Australian Flag Day. Well, not many people would know, but it's our national pride on Australian Flag Day. So today is the National Flag Day, as our flag turns 120 today. So there are some very, very interesting facts about the flag which we will read out. So the Australian flag is the only flag to fly over an entire continent. There are many continents in the world, but they have many different countries. So Australia is one, which is one continent and has got one flag throughout the world. The Australian flag was the first national flag chosen as an open public competition. So unlike many other countries, there was a competition, and it was chosen in that competition, and it was a public thing. The prize for the designing was £200, which was a substantial sum of money back in those days, representing nearly 1 year's wages for an average worker. Given that there were 32,823 entries in the designing competition, and the Australian population was estimated to be around 3.6 million in 1901, an equivalent response rate of today's population would amount to about 2,000 entries. So arranging the 32,823 entries for display at the Royal Exhibition Building in Melbourne took 8 weeks. And the judges needed 6 days to inspect them and choose the winning design. So there you are, and it is a wonderful, wonderful thing that we're maintaining all that culture through events like what happened this morning. So here's a glimpse of what happened this morning.
On which we stand. Pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. And we have very many distinguished guests this morning. And I want to acknowledge each and one.
We'll do that again, yep.
And on which we stand. Pay my respects to the elders, past, present and emerging. And we have very many distinguished guests this morning. And I want to acknowledge each and one.
And of course, when we look at the winning flag, the winning design was unveiled by the wife of the first Governor-General at a ceremony held at Royal Exhibition Building in Melbourne on 3rd September 1901. So there you are. Isn't that wonderful to see that? And of course, today the army was there in attendance, and the flag was brought in, and then of course the girls from Indropolis school did the national anthem as the flag was risen. And there you are. So there are some glimpses there from the Australian Flag Day today, which is now 120 years. So, you know, let's all be very proud of our flag. So the Australian National Flag Day was celebrated at King George's Square this morning, and I was fortunate to take part in that celebration. Well, right now we'll go and take a look at some of the functions and events taking place. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk to you about our health, or my health, Aapki Sehat, the program which will go to air tomorrow. And tomorrow we have a very, good guest speaker, Dr. Abha, who will talk about many, and mainly being women's health as well, that she will touch on. The next is on the 19th of September is the Mums United Seva Project, which happens at Amicable. Contact Rohani on the numbers there. They're doing a wonderful job. You could join in as a volunteer, or you could donate. Bullawood. Well, this event is now a sold-out event. It's happening tomorrow. It's again another great initiative of the Rotary Club of Brisbane International. Sangeet Premi Club presents a interfaith music festival on Saturday 9th of October, supported by Queensland Government. If you haven't got your tickets, you can jump online and get your tickets. Well, next up, the musical night by Sargam Music Academy, which will now be held on 13th of November. Many of these functions have been postponed from the original dates. SCAD's the breakfast, $10 per person, again a very worthy cause. Please do support that. And Sri Sarva Lakshmi Kumkum Puja and Rudra Abhishekan, this will be also happening tomorrow at 4 p.m. So please do take part in that as well. And Navratri, which is coming, Rudra Abhishekam, will also be held by Sri Kameskari Ekaswaram Dham. Next up, we talk about Simply Human and their Superheroes Without Cape function, which is now on the new date of 9th October. Please do log on to see if you can get any spots there. Well, Navratri Utsav, 7th till 15th of October at Sri Venkateswara Durga Temple, which is in Canmore. And here's the other dates of the events happening at the Durga Temple. Vedanta Center and all the upcoming functions and events that are happening there as well. And of course the Vedanta Center and the annual Vedanta Multicultural Show is now on 3rd October. All these have been postponed to these new dates. Arpan, Nritya Bharati School of Kathak and Nimita Demroy's annual concert will take place tomorrow, which was originally to be on the 14th, but now on the 4th of September. So tomorrow will be this wonderful, wonderful event taking place as well. Now, when we look at Diwali, Benyo Diwali is happening on the 30th of October. And of course, we know right now that the BSK Cup is happening, and that happens every Sunday. And SCAD's brekkie menu is there for your information. And the Federation of Indian Communities of Queensland, or FICQ, and their annual Diwali will now take place on the 5th of November at King George Square. Gayatri Mahayagna and Arya Pratinidhi Sabha of Queensland, and please do take part in this as well. India Day Fair now on 23rd October at the South Bank Piazza, and of course we know that this had been postponed here as well. Well, right now, Kairali, Brisbane, and their function now on 11th of September. So there's lots of functions and events taking place. Please do go ahead and take part in those, but be very mindful of the restrictions that are in place at this point in time. Please observe all the restrictions that have been put in place. Queensland has been lucky so far. It's a lucky state, and we need to keep it that way. Otherwise, we too will be in lots of trouble. Well, right now, it's time to say goodbye, but don't forget that I'm back again tomorrow morning with the weekend roundup and also the special segment, which is Aapki Sehat, presented by the Indian Medical Association of Queensland and the branch, and Dr. Cyril Fernandez. Special thanks to him for putting that together for us. And the guest speaker this week is Dr. Shaba, who will be speaking on women's health and other health issues as well. So see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, it's goodbye from me. Enjoy the weekend and remain safe.